Welcome. Welcome to another show, another Digital Jamaica live show. I just had a brain freeze right there. We have a very, well, y'all know me. My name is Kibwe Francis, and the beautiful lady over the other end.
Yes, I am Monique McIntosh, and we have I am Kibwe. I'm excited.
I'm super excited. We have two super special guests on with us tonight. And we have a special guest in chat. Big up yourself, Joel Darko. Joel is moderating the chat for the first segment, the WiPay segment, and he's in the chat. He's looking at all your messages, all your questions, and you'll be feeding it to us so we can get your questions answered. Thank you for joining us, Joel. Hi, Auntie Pat. Welcome WiPay Jamaica to the Digital Jamaica live show as well. Welcome Kibwe McGann, who is the country manager for WiPay, and of course welcome Monique Powell, who is the founder and CEO of QuickPlate. We have a very exciting show for you today, and we're just going to go right into it because we have a lot to cover. So welcome to the show, Kibwe McGann.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. We're more excited, right? So yesterday, Joel started a thread, as he's wont to do, on Twitter about e-commerce in general and where exactly are we going with this whole e-commerce thing. And he mentioned WiPay, and that brought back memories like, hold on, I was when he's supposed to come talk to me about something from last year. So I was like, let me jump on it, and you guys are here now. So I know persons had questions about WiPay, but before we start taking questions, Kibwe, can you just quickly tell us what is WiPay?
Yeah.
Well, WiPay is a payment processor. Now, what a lot of people don't even understand what that means. Let me just break that down. So a payment processor is a service that allows you to be able to charge credit cards or enable debit cards, Master Visa debit cards online and have that money go to an account. A lot of you may be familiar with say a PayPal. So a PayPal is a payment processor. So WiPay is a payment processor, but WiPay is built for the Caribbean by Caribbean people who understand the problems that we face when dealing with overseas foreign payment processors.
Right. So I'm assuming you guys also had in mind the limitations that we have locally with our banking systems and how that is regulated.
Yeah.
Of course. So WiPay falls under that same banking structure because we still have to abide by the same banking rules and laws.
So yesterday in a conversation that I was having with Alwyn, he was explaining that WiPay is, and I like the phrase he used when he said it was bank agnostic, meaning any bank account you have with any bank in Jamaica, WiPay will work with that. So can you explain how does that exactly work? If I have a Scotia bank, or if my business account, say I have an e-commerce platform, because when we're talking about payment processing, we're usually talking about e-commerce. So if I have an e-commerce business, and I want to take it online and have a Scotia business bank account, how do I go about setting that up with WiPay? Do I need something from Scotia? Would WiPay give me something to take to my bank? How does that work?
You need nothing. So the whole object of WiPay was to make it very easy for merchants and our consumers. So in the first instance, you need to sign up to WiPay and verify your account. And if you're a personal account, if you're a business account, it's the same KYC process as the banks. You need maybe 1 to 2 IDs, you need a proof of address, you need a bank account with the same account, the same name that you used to sign up to a WiPay account must be the same name on your bank. So if it's Kibwe McGann and he's signing up a personal account, it must be a Kibwe McGann bank account. If it is that we're using Monique's company, if it's 7 Crave for business, then the bank account must also say the same thing. From there, within our process, verification takes 2 to 3 days, assuming you have all of your documents. Verification takes 2 to 3 days, and then what it is, you input your banking information. So we need your banking information And just like how you transfer money to a bank, it's the same way WiPay allows you to what we call withdraw money from WiPay to your local bank account.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what account you're with.
Okay, and how long does that actually take, that entire setup process? How long is that?
Well, okay,
I think the better question is, how easy is this for me to start?
Yeah.
Well, it really depends on if you have all of your documents in check. For personal account, we need a proof of address. You know, so whether that's your bank statement or a letter from a lawyer, a letter from whomever to say that this is where you live, you know, a utility bill. So if you have those, it should be pretty easy for you to set up your personal account. For your business account, you will need other documents, such as your registered business name, your company registration documents, proof of address, IDs, all of that. So for most people, that may take some time because they don't have everything. What we have is a lot of smaller accounts, mom and pop shops coming to WiPay, sign up for a business account, but they don't have all the documentation in place. So one of the things we've encouraged people to do is that, hey, when you come in for a business account, make sure that you have this document and check that document. But as long as you have all of those documents, it's literally a 2 to 3 day process.
Okay. So the first question that came in from Joel in the chat is, when are you launching your full market campaign in Jamaica?
That's a question that everyone has been asking, but of course, with what WiPay is and the amount of products that we have that's about to come out, we want to ensure that everything is live. We have a local banking partner, and we won't go live with that marketing campaign until they roll out that information. Also, we've partnered with a couple of government agencies that we're also going to be rolling out and making up noise behind that. So right now, WiPay is operational and a few people are already using it. We're just literally just going through the paces with them and just waiting for that day when, you know, bank rolls out, government rolls out, and then we'll start our magic.
In other words, all of the partners need to be ready. We have another question from the chat. Where are you guys filed? Where are you incorporated?
WiPay Jamaica is a Jamaican company. Our holding company, WiPay Holdings, is a Trinidadian company, but WiPay Jamaica is its own company and incorporated in Jamaica.
Okay. Another question from Joel. What are the success stories so far in terms of platform usage? Do you have any that you can share in terms of point to and say, well, this business did this and this was kind of the integral in their business success? Or can you share any of those stories with us?
Well, I can't call any names, but we do have clients on WiPay right now, moving millions of dollars. That's as much as I can possibly tell you. Moving millions of dollars.
Okay.
Yeah, especially those companies that are heavy in the web-based sector. So those guys who most of their processes could have been taken online, they're in that category and space.
Right. When we posted about this yesterday, one of the comments that we had was that it's a very good solution for e-commerce, but as a service provider, they don't feel that WiPay would be for them. What are some of the products that WiPay have for regular service providers? That one was particularly coming from the boss teacher. She has an online platform where she teaches teachers how to make money online. So for someone like her who's not an e-commerce platform, but she wants to offer her services online and have people pay for them online, what are some solutions that you have for her?
Easy. One of the things that WiPay has is invoicing. It literally is a service where we allow you to send an invoice, and that invoice comes with a click to pay link. So literally, when you get your invoice, you just click pay same time, money sent to your WiPay account. So that's one of the easiest ways.
So she can literally put up a button up with that link behind it. When they click on it, it just takes them to a payment platform.
Not a button, but consider it more like a link. So
I'm saying she can create a button on her platform and put that link behind the button. So when they click on it, it takes them to that link.
No, different thing. When you speak about buttons, that's when we speak about plugins. So I have to be very careful when you speak about a button. A button is when you have a website and you have a button that says pay. That's a
Right.
button. So
what
we
if
have a button solution.
Okay, so you have a separate button solution. But what I was
Correct.
saying, for her as a web design, she could create something that looks like a button, but it's actually the link. It's just that you're not going to see the long string of link. So when you click on that thing that looks like the button, it will take you to the link.
Of course, if she has a pay here button, it can be set up the same way because correct, we have those plugins, but also for someone who may not have a website, you know, and is not within that e-commerce space, so to say.
Yeah.
WiPay has a service where you can literally create an invoice and email that invoice, and it comes with a payment button. WiPay also has WiPay also has a new service called WiPay Me. Now, WiPay Me allows me to send you a link, and you can fill in the amount of money you want to pay me.
Okay.
And that is a free service.
Right. Okay. Another question: how do you see WiPay facilitating intra-regional commerce, e-commerce?
Well, that is something WiPay currently has on the books. It's currently not legal. We can't just you can't just get up and send money to Trinidad or wherever. That actually falls under remittance. But I don't want to say too much, but we'll get there. It's not that it's not possible. It's just currently, you know, we're not permitted to do it.
Even as
didn't hear you a while ago.
Even as one CARICOM, that's interesting.
Yeah. But we are working on it. We have to work with the respective island banking regulators. So it's not just as you see. It would be a relationship between Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad. So it's a separate government regulation.
That's on a governmental level. If they can get some kind of bilateral partnership happening, then you guys can jump on that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Another question is, what about the fees? What are the fees associated with these services? So you have WiPay Me, you have, which is the invoicing service, you have the plugin thing, and you have the regular payment processing services. What are the fees associated with these services?
Okay, so for you to sign up to WiPay, it is free on both your business account and your personal account. WiPay makes money on the transaction. So we charge 3.8% plus GCT. That's the same thing that your bank charges you right now if you were to use a credit card machine, because that's called a credit card machine processing fee that we have to charge because of MasterCard and Visa. And then, of course, there is also GCT on that amount. The other charge that you must know about WiPay is when you withdraw from your WiPay account and pay out to your bank account, we charge you also $130 Jamaican. So
per transaction?
Per transaction. But you have to understand what a per transaction means. It's by batch. So if I were to settle from my WiPay account today, but it had several transactions in there, it would only be $130. If you were to do each time someone purchased from you, choose to pay out yourself, it's going to be $130 each time. So just as if you had a credit card machine, most people don't settle that credit card machine until the end of the week or the end of the month. And then they get charged that one flat fee. So it's the same way with WiPay. And we are intentionally not higher than the bank's commission fees on settlements.
$130 that is charged. This is regardless of the amount. So
regardless of the amount.
It no matter if it's 50 million.
It does not matter. It's going to be $130. As long as that $50 million is your total settlement. If you were to break up that 50 million into 10 million 5 times, then it would be 5 times 130.
Okay. Wayne in the chat is asking, what's the processing time for withdrawals to a bank account?
Okay, so right now that is anywhere between 5 to 7 days. It really is dependent on your bank. We transfer by ACH, so it's not by RGTS. But also you have to understand that just like how when you run a credit card, or even if you're on PayPal or any of those services, they hold your money for at least 5 days, just in case there are chargebacks. Because of course, we have to be honest, we are in Jamaica and scammers exist. So we actually have to hold your money and ensure that there are no chargebacks and there's nobody contesting that, hey, I never used my card by this. You know, so we have to hold your money. And once that is clear, then we transfer it to your bank account. And say if it's Scotia, if it's NCB, there's different timelines between how they process their ACH.
Okay, Monique, you were saying something just now?
And I love how Kibwe's tone of voice changed a while ago. Hello.
Okay, who would you consider, another question from Joel, who would you consider to be your competitors at this point in time in Jamaica right now? Do you have competitors in Jamaica? And are you competitive in terms of your fees?
I don't feel as if we have any competition, to be
People
honest.
don't come with it. I am WiPay, so WiPay don't have no competition.
No, I'm going to explain. So there's a lot of buzz in the market, or there was a lot of buzz in the market about Figaro, but at every step of the way, Figaro is more expensive than a WiPay because there comes a monthly fee just for accessing the service. Also, the processing fees on the Figaro start at about 4 point business. WiPay comes with an entire suite. So you have to think of WiPay like a bank in a box, for a better term. For lack of a better term. So it's more banking as a service.
All
not just a building.
Does somebody need
awesome.
in order to accept some foreign exchange or to process transactions in that currency?
Okay, so that's a really good question. So WiPay allows you to actually, you know, when you're on a site, most sites only allow you to charge in USD. WiPay allows you to charge in your local currency or USD if you want. And it allows you to send those funds to either your local bank account or your USD local bank account. So, you know, like when you're using, say, if you had a Shopify site, you could only charge in US dollars. WiPay would allow you to charge in Jamaican dollars.
Okay. So we're taking one final question and then we really have to go. So somebody was asking, do you have API set up to work with different web platforms, example, Kajabi, and can you do recurring billing?
We can do recurring billing, and yes, we do have different API setups. If you go on the WiPay website right now, we currently have plugins for Magento. The Shopify plugin comes live next week. So does the Wix plugin come live. And these are actually...
And you have a plugin for WordPress as well, I was told.
We have an active plugin right now for WordPress. Anything using that whole WooCommerce setup, we can fit right into. And it doesn't take any genius developer to jump on and work it out. But we also afford people, you know, the opportunity of integration, and we have our own developers on site to help and assist with that.
Okay. So one last question from Auntie Pata, then we really have to go. Who regulates WiPay in Jamaica?
So as I said, WiPay has a local banking partner, and as such, we are governed by the same rules that banking partner is governed by under BOJ.
Okay, awesome.
So WiPay can't operate in Jamaica without a local banking partner, which we
definitely have. And based on what I was told yesterday by Alwyn, your local banking partner is what, FGB, right? First Global.
Wow, I didn't even know he released that.
Yeah. We got the scoop. We got the scoop. Yes, you got the scoop.
Yes.
All right then. So thank you so much, Kibwe, for coming on. What we'll do, guys, if you have any more questions, Joel will help us collate them, or you can DM them to us and we'll send them to WiPay, and I'm sure Kibwe will be happy to answer any further questions for you, and we'll put that out on the platform. Persons are asking if the platform is secure. Persons are asking about what about Squarespace. All of those things we'll forward to you, Kibwe, and Kibwe will put together a nice answer for us and we'll share it.
You can send it to actually jmsupport@wipaytoday.com.
JM?
Respond. jmsupport@wipaytoday.com.
jmsupport@wepaytoday.com. And
Yes, I'll
any
also send you
questions
a
you have?
number. I'll send you a number, and what I'll also do is send you a WiPay brochure that you can share.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, Kibwe, for your time. Really appreciate you coming on, especially since it was last minute. Appreciate WiPay too for acquiescing to our request and giving us some inside exclusive scoop. We love it.
Let
Thank
me
you
tell
so
you,
much.
that bomb you just dropped at the end, I'm like, whoa, they know that?
Whoa. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much, Kibwe. And thank you guys for sending us all your questions and for jumping in. Yes, Auntie Pat said that's a really important information in terms of your banking partner, so they know, because Jamaicans have special relationships with different banks. Certain banks will not depend. Other banks will go, okay, so if you work with a bank, yeah, that means that this is expensive because them people here. So I think Jamaicans want to know who this partner is so we can know if we're okay, you know? Yeah.
WiPay also has a local partner through Innovate 10X. So we have an office that people can go, because you know Jamaicans love to have an office where they can go and cuss, you know. So just
they need from a cutting center, right?
Yeah, they just need to know there's a building.
Yes,
but yes.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Kibwe. Really appreciate you being on. All right. All right, guys. We're not going to delay much further except to say thanks again to Kibwe McGann. He's the country manager for WiPay Jamaica, fully incorporated in Jamaica. It's a part of the bigger WiPay Caribbean brand, which is originates out of Trinidad. All Wayne is Trinidadian. We support our Caribbean brothers and sisters in tech who are doing these things. And what I really love, Monique, is the fact that it's what we call experiential tech. They know what is happening in the Caribbean. They know what is affecting businesses, small businesses, everyday people in the Caribbean. And they're creating the type of tech that would be useful. This is tech created with us and our experiences and issues in mind, and we'll absolutely stand for it.
And you have to different ways, jump over one hoop and underneath one corner in order to actually get what you need.
Yes. Monique, you're breaking up. Sorry, go again.
I'm saying, goody, be ready for what's coming next.
I'm ready for the next guest. I've been ready for the next guest from last week. Yes. Now I am very big. We at Digital Jamaica at DGA, we're very big on women in tech. Because we consider ourselves to be women in tech. So we are all for sistership in that space. And there are certain women within our space, local tech space, who is murdering it right now. And one of them is on the line. Welcome to Digital Jamaica, to the Digital Jamaica show, Miss Monique Powell, founder and CEO of the original online delivery platform, QuickPlate. Welcome to the show, Monique. It's great to have you on.
What an introduction.
I mean, it's well deserved. It's well deserved. We both follow you on Twitter, and we know that tech is really something you are passionate about. So the first question before anything else is, why tech? Why did you decide that tech was going to be your area of focus, your career area?
Well, it kind of happened by accident. I was bored one summer between 5th form and 6th form, or was it 4th form to 5th form, whichever. And I started teaching myself how to design websites.
Right.
And it was basically, looking back from there. I mean, by the time I was 18, I was at the Gleaner Company as their web developer. And every job I've held since then has been in some way related to tech. So I suppose it was a natural progression that when I decided to finally act on my entrepreneurial drive in a major way, that it would be something that is tech-based or tech-enabled.
Oh, money. You I like where this is naturally going, because you just casually mentioned, oh, when I was 18, I ended up at the Gleaner as their web developer. Monique, you worked at Digicel. You worked at Scotiabank, being their regional marketing excitement head of this, that. And a Gleaner web developer and Digicel this. What chip in your head, miss? Or how did QuickPlate come up in all of this excitement, big position, walk out, talk to me nice, placements and positions that you had in these regional roles?
Yeah, so I spent 7 years at the Gleaner company, and then I moved on to Digicel, where I was the web specialist on their marketing team. And I was there for about a year and a half. And then I got an offer from Scotiabank for the initial role was for digital marketing manager for a couple of business lines. So I started off with, one business line. I started off with credit cards. I won't go through the whole long story with you, but by the end of the 5 years, I was regional manager for digital marketing for the English Caribbean for all the business lines. So it moved from just credit card to credit card, mortgages, small business, whatever. So by the time I had gotten to that point, however, I suppose a couple of things happened at the same time. I started experiencing some amount of burnout. So, naturally the question is this what I want to be doing still? And if not, what next? But I always wanted to start my own business. And I've always kind of been entrepreneurial. I mean, from my teenage days, I used to buy and sell and bring down things from abroad and sell back. And, there's always some sort of business activity going on.
Yeah.
Right about that time, I started, there was a personal need that stood out for me. And it was as it related to food delivery. So at the time, and people hear me say this already, I used to work late a lot. And I found that whenever I would come home, not want to cook, want to order something, it would be pizza. Not because I want pizza, but because that was all that was available for delivery at that time.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a problem that was worth solving. So, I put it to people, if you could have a platform, one central platform that you can go to and order from a number of restaurants and trust that the food is going to be delivered on time and in a professional manner, would you use it and would you pay to use it? And I got a lot of yeses. Enough for me to say, okay, I think I might be onto something. So I kind of decided to take the plunge. It was nerve-wracking. It wasn't an easy decision, but sometimes you just have to go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing too, Monique, with that and how you went about doing that, again, we're back into the realm of experiential tech. This is something that is not just happening to me. It's not a personal thing where, there's a little issue. That it's a thing that's happening to everybody. We do have people that work late. Jamaican people are foodies, I would say, and on a whole. And sometimes we just don't want to get up and go get the food. We want the food to come to us. So how do we solve the problem? We don't feel like Domino's. We don't feel like Pizza Hut. We don't feel for pizza, but we actually want food. And especially because we see what's happening elsewhere, where in other territories, in other countries, people can get them food delivered after the better than we, or better than we. We want food delivered too. So I like the fact that you were looking at, okay, what's a general experience that everybody's having, and then how can I solve that problem? But really, you are one of the first to push out and actually do that. So you say you took the plunge, but was there any hesitation for you in terms of, I know people say yes, but Jamaican people stay, right? Was there any hesitation for you? How has it been since you decided, all right, I'm gonna do this and push out?
Well, it's been a roller coaster ride. So whereas I had that deep knowledge of tech, which allowed me to set up the e-commerce platform and basically everything on the technology side,
Yeah.
logistics was brand new to me. So that, I would say that first year, a lot of it was spent truly understanding how to simultaneously move multiple orders crisscrossing across the corporate area within a
Yeah.
shop. And
Yeah.
that kind of last mile logistics is actually very technical. A lot of people want to understand how deeply technical it gets if you're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you'll often find that a number of these kinds of businesses pop up, and in 6 months' time, you don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
It's easy to deliver 10 orders a day on time. It's much less easy to deliver the 100 orders a day on time or 150 orders a day on time.
Yeah.
And it gets technical at that point, and you have to have the technology to support the, you know, a certain operating, or your business operating at a certain level of efficiency. So that part of it was a steep learning curve. And then also kind of just navigating the whole banking system and e-commerce setup. And yeah, I mean, it's good to hear you guys talking about WiPay, because I hope that will alleviate some of the pain for small business people, especially.
Yeah.
But at the time, I needed to get off the ground really quickly, so I started out with Stripe.
Yeah.
A couple of months in, I realized that this was getting very expensive, so I decided I was going to switch to a local banking partner. The whole process took months just to switch to the local bank for e-commerce. So what that meant was that even though I knew this was expensive and unsustainable, I had to keep doing it for another 8 months. So by the end of the first year, the business spent $1 million just wiring funds into Jamaica.
Right.
Just that alone, which is a lot for a small business to spend on something like that. And you know, so getting set up with e-commerce, getting a deep understanding of logistics, you know, getting funding for the business, going through the first couple of years without, you know, even thinking about taking a salary for myself. It was quite an adjustment. It was quite an adjustment and quite a challenging thing to do. And, you know, I'm giving you the summarized version here, but it's a roller coaster. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So how have you then, I mean, having done all that, and as you rightfully said, you see these business pop up because I guess you benefited in some ways, and you can let me know if I'm correct. You benefited in some ways with being first to market with a product like this. So the skepticism didn't set in as yet, because you know Jamaican people, they will point it and go, that a person want to do that, so the skepticism wasn't there yet, but it was still a new product, and you still had to get over that hump of trying to convince people that it's a viable product, it's a good product, it worked, just order the food, right? So how were you able to do that while positioning this relatively new thing to the Jamaican market? How did you do that while putting that in a position of growth?
Right. Well, as to whether we were first to market, I'm not sure whether we were. I think two of us launched within a couple of months of each other. So I think the service that actually launched before us. But nevertheless, it was something that was brand new to the space, which meant that customer acquisition was very expensive because we had to spend a lot on educating the market. And the initial traction was driven primarily by word of mouth. Because people weren't used to this. So they're wondering, is this legitimate? Is this a scam? Can I put my credit card in on this website? And it took a few brave souls to initially go and try it and say, yeah, this works, it's great, it's legit, for other people to start using it as well. So that initial buildup was very slow as a result, because we had to not only educate the market as to who we were, but to educate the market about online ordering and this type of centralized or third-party food delivery company.
Okay.
So, you know, it was challenging. It was challenging.
Okay, so when did you realize, and this is the part about the growth now, when did you realize that you were in a really good position to next level QuickPlate?
Well, I think one of the things that clued us in was actually the response from the restaurants. So
Okay.
first, getting the restaurants on board was really hard. So we launched with 5 restaurants. By the end of the year, I think we were only up to about 12.
Mm-hmm.
By the second year, we found that restaurants were now coming to us versus us going to them.
Yeah.
And at the end of the second year, the number of restaurants we had more than doubled because and this is important because they are in the center of this whole operation. It revolves around these restaurants. And when
Yeah.
they start to see the value and when their customers start to ask them, why are you not on QuickPlate? Then it tells you that there's something happening and you're probably onto something.
Yeah. Yeah. Because and why you say it, I realize that, hold on, it's not only that you had to educate the consumer, you had to kind of do the same thing for the restaurants.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
kind of had to sell them on it as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's really a two-sided marketplace. You know,
Yeah.
restaurants are our customers in the same way that diners who order from us are our customers. And it was the same process. You know, some skepticism. Some got it right away. Some were a little skeptical at first. Skeptical about whether Jamaicans would gravitate to something like this, whether Jamaicans would trust systems that only allow them to pay online and so forth. So
Right.
sorry. So a lot of initial skepticism that we had to kind of overcome. So yeah, definitely education on both sides.
Okay.
Having been within the market for a few years now, how do you see your growth or growth for QuickPlate as you look forward in the future? If it's still going to only be centered around food and food delivery, or do you foresee yourself diversifying into other spaces?
Yeah, because you have Quick Cart now as well, right?
So QuickCart is basically a brand new service or product from us. Which
Awesome.
is basically us doing for retail merchants what we did for restaurants, which
Right.
allow them to quickly and easily get online, offer online payments, and offer delivery service. So we're using QuickCart to do the same thing. So QuickCart is still in its infancy
Right.
and not being pushed in a major way at this time, but that will change. So definitely there'll be movement into other areas outside of just.
Right.
It's very likely that food will probably always be the primary thing that we do and that we're known for. But we're definitely moving beyond just food.
It'd be very interesting to see because I think a lot of persons, their mindsets and how we view a lot of these things has really shifted, particularly
Yeah.
because we're a lot more comfortable than we were 4 or 5 years ago with ordering online. Whole heap of other stuff on Amazon and ship it here through third-party systems and pay for things online and all of those stuff. So I think things are shifting.
Yeah, and I think the shift is really towards people trusting local companies enough to do business online with them. That's really what the shift is. It's not so much the shift towards e-commerce generally, because, you know, as I always say to people, it's years now line and stretch out a ship me go downstairs and out a door. So
Yeah.
in itself is an indication that people have been shopping online.
Yeah.
What they have not necessarily been doing is doing that same kind of business with local.
Locally. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what COVID-19 has kind of accelerated the
Yeah.
acceptance of and the shift towards doing business in the same way with local companies.
Okay, so how has QuickPlate been able to maintain? Because as far as I can see, you guys are still ahead in this industry in terms of online food delivery. Well, I thought you were one of the first. Certainly a lot of people think you're the first to actually push out there and do it. But how have you been able to deal with the competition that has now come on stream? So now we have Seven Crave, who also has an app, and we have other small entities coming up now who are also going the application route. So because QuickPlate has gone the app route as well, have an app and all of that. Going, you can order on the website, you can order by app, and everybody's kind of following suit and go, okay, well, apparently Jamaica people are into apps now, so you have had competition on your tail, but still, if you should ask people, it's QuickPlate. So how have you been able to maintain your competitive edge within a field that is becoming a little bit more crowded now?
Yeah, well, what I find is that if you keep your focus on competitors, you start to become reactive. They do something, you do something in response. Or you start to become a follower. You don't innovate on your own. You see them do something, you run and you do it as well.
Right.
So my approach, of course, you have to keep an eye on what's going on in the space, definitely. But my approach is to stay focused on the customer. What are the customers telling us that they want? What do they like so that we can do more of it? What do they not like so we can do less of it or eliminate it altogether? And keep that focus on the customer. And if you keep your focus there and you listen to them, it's only natural that you'll continue to grow because you're keeping most, if not all, of your customers happy. And you're learning what their changing needs are and you're responding to their changing needs. So, it's much better to stay focused on your customers and what it is that they want. And, you keep the competition in the corner, yeah, but it's not really where you focus. And I think that's the way to deal with it when you have, multiple players in the market.
Awesome. And somebody says QuickPlate is already competitive in terms of their customer service. And to be quite honest, since we have put out that we're going to have you on the show, a lot of persons have been commenting on the customer service. So you have it seemingly QuickPlate has put a lot of emphasis into making sure that the customer is satisfied and customers are starting to notice it. Talk to us about why you have why customers are such a central part of your business, and how you made sure that between yourself and your team that remains the focus, even because you would have had to get the restaurants to switch focus as well to make sure that they're kind of with you and everybody you're pulling in the same direction. So how have you been able to do that?
Right. Well, what I tell my operations / customer care team all the time is we're not the only ones who do what we do. There are a bunch of services out there getting meals from point A to point B. What is going to make the difference is how you make the customer feel when they use your service.
Yeah.
When that customer calls, they're supposed to get through to somebody. Or if for whatever reason they can't, there should be some other channel through which they can easily reach us, live chat, whatever it may be. And when they finally connect with somebody, they should feel like they're talking to a business that actually values their patronage. They should feel important, and they are, because the business would cease to exist without the customers.
Yeah.
Actually, mind-blowing to me when I come across businesses that don't treat their customers well or don't make an effort to treat their customers well. The very reason you are around is because of people who put their trust in you and spend their money with you. Those people need to be treated like royalty whenever they do decide to use you versus somebody else. It's a privilege. They don't have to. It's a privilege that we're getting, and they should be treated accordingly. And I try to have that approach ingrained in our people, ingrained in our processes as much as I can.
Okay. Do you think it's because of your marketing background that because with marketing, we know that we're going after a certain audience, we're going after customers or consumers, we're trying to keep ourselves front of mind for them. So when they think food delivery, they think QuickPlate. So I understand that naturally your marketing abilities would come in, but do you think that's why you're able to see it? Not necessarily differently, because most companies will tell you that, yeah, man, customers come first, but in reality, you can't get an attitude and like, you can't call someone else in my girl. So you think it's because you had that background why you were prepared to really carry this thing through to this point?
I've never really thought about it that way, to be honest, but it may have had some impact on it, because one of the things that play a role in marketing is your ability to understand customer psychology. Understand what makes customers tick, what makes them buy this product versus that product, regardless of the fact that they do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think probably being being on a career path where I was constantly forced to think that way, maybe it comes naturally to me now. So
Yeah,
maybe it's likely.
I was really onto something, because even when you look at all the different spaces that you operated in, from the news and the media space that's super competitive, to the telecommunication space where we know one sneeze, the other one catch flu, and and exciting bidding war starts happening, and new entrant come in the market and we have to kick them out, and so all of these things would have kind of made it almost second nature. And then your CEO, your boss lady, so you've put in these systems from day one to say, here is where we focus, this is our concentration, and you're carrying the team with these fundamental principles. So
yeah, and you have to bake those values into the processes, because as the company grows,
it gets harder.
It's harder to keep an eye on everything that is happening. So what it means is that the processes that are in place that have to happen in a particular way, whether you're overseeing it or not, have to be set up in such a way that the steps that are outlined, or the steps that people know that they have to take in each kind of scenario, reflect your values as it relates to how you think customers should be treated.
Yeah. And somebody asked earlier, how were you able to get funding, which really goes to the heart of what I wanted to ask you about. This was my number one question, was really about tech entrepreneurship in Jamaica, because as I was saying, it sounds sexy. I'm a tech entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Oh, I have an app. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I have a platform, sure. It sounds way sexier than it actually is. It actually is a lot of work. It's rewarding, sure, at the end of it. You look at a Bezos, or you look at the Facebook one they're in, or you look at a Elon Musk, where you see that tech companies have the ability to make a lot of money very quickly. But that doesn't mean that it happens quickly either. There's a lot that actually goes into it. And then we're in a market that's not technologically integrated. We're new entrants, really, in terms of tech. And of course, it wasn't until COVID happened that Jamaicans kind of going, okay, fine, if I have to do the tech thing, I guess. Right? But you are already ahead of that kind of curve. I don't know if you had 2020 vision or what. You are kind of way ahead. So in that sense, I wanted to talk about being a tech entrepreneur in Jamaica, and what are some of the difficulties that you think you encountered because of your geographic location and trying to do what you were doing in a society that is as yet don't fully understand what tech is.
Well, the challenges come from me at all angles. It's like we talked about before, having to at least initially educate the market, You also have to adjust to the fact that our systems are not currently, our systems and processes that we have in place for doing anything related to business here, they're not very small business friendly, whether you tech business or not, just general. And then when you're trying to set up e-commerce and all of that, like I said before, it can be a hellish experience. And I can understand people who just maybe throw them, halfway into they throw up their hands and they can't bother anymore. And it's also, in a sense, educating investors too, or people with an interest in investing or the means to invest, getting them to understand why, regardless of particular limitations here, companies like the one that I run still have massive potential, not just in Jamaica, but across the region as well. So it requires a lot of patience, and also it's a certain level of comfort with knowing that you have to continually educate different groups of people as you go along in order to, properly and fully establish the business.
Okay. So what would your advice be then? I know you just said a while ago, it takes patience and being able to manage all these different things coming at you at one time. But if you were to advise somebody who's looking to go into tech business, because one thing to have a nice idea about tech, and it's one thing to have a viable product about tech. So if you were to give them an advice about how they can get that idea off the ground or turn that idea into a viable product, what would it be?
Well, the first thing I would say is don't fall in love with the idea. Don't fall in love with it too quickly. Because you get an idea that feels like a brilliant idea and you're excited about saying you want to get it going. You don't do no research, you don't know if nobody wants it, you don't know if people are going to pay for it, you don't know what they will pay for it. So especially if you are a technical person who can build it yourself, then you're caught up in the building of the platform, the building of the application, and it looks cool and the idea in your mind is cool. And then you put it out there and there's no uptake and you don't understand why. And I think sometimes there isn't a full appreciation for the fact that all these cool apps and whatnot you see out there, there's a whole business behind it. There's accounting, there's marketing, there's HR, there's a whole full-fledged business behind it. So you have to think about all the pieces that are you're gonna need to have in place to run the business behind the application, behind the idea. And then you have to do that research up front as well. Talk to people. Think about who you think your ideal customer is. And then talk to a number of them. If you can talk to 50 of them, 100 of them, do a survey. Find out whether enough people have this need that you think exists in the market. How much was the maximum they're willing to pay, and whether that maximum is enough to sustain the business based on the other operational costs that you're anticipating. So I'd say those are key considerations and things that tech-minded persons don't always think about when they get great ideas.
Monique, final question goes to you.
Well, that was actually what I was thinking about for picking up just in terms of gems and lessons. And I think it's sobering, but it's a point that's worth driving home. Like, you have a great idea or a concept, but there's a lot of work that goes to supporting that, number one. And two, your market kind of have to be the one to tell you that, we want it and we're willing to pay this for it. So I actually think that that's an exceptional note for us to wrap up today's conversation on. Monique, thank you for joining us. It's so good.
I love the fact that you are on here and that you're actually sharing your story. You're being open and being honest about it, because representation really, really matters. It's really good to see us in tech. Caribbean people in tech, Jamaican people in tech, women in tech, Black woman in tech, Black Caribbean woman in tech. I mean, you tick so many boxes, and we are just super excited to see QuickPlate blow up across the Caribbean and maybe even further, because if them can come here, we can go there. That's what I say.
Yeah.
So excited to see it. Thank you so much, Monique. We really appreciate you being on the show.
Yes, and thanks for inviting me. Thanks for bringing me on. It was great.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Guys, wasn't that amazing though? I'm so shocked. I was like, oh my God, it was so awesome. That is so awesome. Sorry, what's that?
You're fangirling.
I am so fangirling. I cannot tell you guys how huge a fan I am. I follow this person on Twitter. I follow her on LinkedIn. I don't know which platform she's on that I don't follow her. I am super, I'm always super amazed and super inspired by local tech people, especially women in tech. And I'm happy that the Jamaican women in tech are so open. There's Ingrid, there's several of them who they're always willing to talk to you. They're always willing to come on and share. And we need more of them putting their stories out there, because it can be done. They have done it. They're not unicorns. Well, they're unicorns, but you can be a unicorn too. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Right? We're not giving away that one, but you can be a unicorn too. Yeah, and I'm just happy that they're out there and they're putting their stories out there for us to be inspired by. I can't tell you how excited I am by that.
Yeah, and what I was saying this entire time is success leaves clues. Like, there's some things you don't have to read.
Love that. I love that statement I saw. And I was like, go girl. I love that. Yeah.
But this is basically our time for this week. Remember, the Digital Jamaica podcast and blog relaunching next week. Make sure.
Monday.
Make sure, yeah, and we have a lot more in store. Keep in tune with the Digital Jamaica page or stories, particularly for all of the updates. Thanks again for joining. We come back next week with an amazing session again. All right?
Yes, and thank you to WiPay and Monique again for being on the chat. We really appreciate it, guys. We'll see you next week. Join us if you want to be a unicorn.
Bye.